This is my family. Everybody that's in this book, whether I'm still involved in their lives or not, this is who my family is. This is who raised me. This is who loved me. This is who I loved. This is who I fought with. This is just who made up my family. The caseworker that I had for both my first adoption and my second adoption, she presented me with this book, and it instantly became one of the most treasured things I'd had. Up until that point, I had known very little about my adoptions, and I didn't know anything about my original first name or brothers and sisters or anything like that. So it was just a really neat opportunity for me to find out some of my history and complete some of my own story. And this is a picture of all of us. My mom was a hippie back in the early 70s, and she traveled around in the back of this postal truck with a couple of friends of hers. And that was me. I looked kind of like a little ragamuffin doll. And Uncle Russ, and my sister Julie and Becky.
Mother of mystery, who held me so near, you gave me your eyes and your beautiful hair. You loved me in ways that no one else could. You gave me to strangers for my own good. You left me in darkness, scared and alone, your reasons a mystery, your thoughts unknown. You let my branch fall from the family tree, even my name I could not take with me. Mother, I wish I knew you.
After I was adopted, I went to Jan and Mike Hansen. That was me. I had very short hair for the next 10 years. I looked like a little boy. That was Jan, and she always had different color hair. It's one of the things I remember the most about her, was that she always had different color hair. And when I was with this family, I had a cousin, and her name was Tiffany. I didn't have very many friends, because I wasn't allowed to go outside and play much. But I remember doing lots and lots of things with her, so I have a lot of pictures. And that was that song I taught you guys about, would you like to swing on a star? You guys remember that song? My Grandpa Ellis taught me that song. It's one of my fondest memories about him. He was a really nice man. He made waffles too. I remember that. And then this was my Grandma Newton, and she was very special to me because she was my grandma both in this family and the next family that adopted me. And so she was the person I had known longest in my life when I was younger. When you know that you've been adopted, there are parts of your life that you know nothing about, and that's really hard to understand by most people. Why is that so important to you? Well, the reason it's important to you is because it's you. It's your story, and people want to know the complete story of themselves. Even if they don't know the complete story of anyone else in their lives, they want to know themselves. The only picture I have of this mom holding me, and it was, you can tell I'm very young. It must have been very, very shortly after I moved in with them. But I had a psychologist once take a look through this book, and he noted at the end, he said, "Did you notice your mother's never touching you?" And I had never noticed that before, but this is, I think, the only picture that she's holding me in.
Mother of sorrow, who held me so near, you taught me to lie, to hate, and to fear. Only in anger did I feel your touch. Only in dreams could I fly from your clutch. The pain you inflicted both inside and out made me feel lonely and full of self-doubt. A slap in the face, the whiz of the belt, has made it impossible for anger to melt. Mother, I hate you.
this picture, that's Jack and Sylvia right there. And they adopted me when I things didn't work out with Jan and Mike. But I went from being an only child to having 6 brothers and sisters, all of which were older than me. But it was still very strange to go from a very quiet house where I was very lonely to all of a sudden a house full of kids and people who were keeping an eye on me, making sure I wasn't doing anything too naughty. I think the testing was definitely at a different level than other kids. And so while I may not have gone out and done the really big things, at least at that younger age, of drinking and smoking and sleeping around and the things that, all parents worry about, I seemed to find a way to sneak in through the back door and get other areas that were really important to them, either honesty or stealing or things that they weren't expecting, and something that I knew really, really bothered them. It was because I wanted to know that they would love me, even at my most rotten point, that I was wanted and that I was loved, even if I was this horrible kid. And obviously, in my mind, I must be this horrible kid. People keep getting rid of me. They were a very musical family. All of us played something, and I played both the flute and the piano. And then I had little nieces and nephews that I was very, very, very attached to. And they're all grown and married and have kids of their own. This is how I remember them. I think it would be weird to see them as adults, because that's just how I always remember them. I wrote a story for the Reflections contest when I was younger, about being in foster care and what it was like, and I actually won an award for that paper. The biggest moments in my life was the day that I left Jack and Sylvia's house, and I was 13, and they had stayed home that day, and my mom was inside with the caseworker, and I was outside with my dad. He teared up and looked really, really, really sad. And for the first time literally in my whole life, I realized somebody really loved me and was going to miss me. And I had never felt like that before. I'd never known that anybody would ever miss me. It hit me really, really, really hard, and really, truly affected the rest of my life. I made some really big changes after that, and I think that's what a lot of foster kids and kids that are adopted, that's what they're waiting for. That they're waiting for that moment when they know somebody loves them.
Mother of confusion who held me so near, you knew not of my pain or the cause of my tears. You did your best to bring my soul peace, but watched in frustration as it only increased. You gave me your love, you gave me your best, but no one was allowed to pass all my tests. The only direction is up once so low, so at the bottom you put me and prayed I would grow. Mother, I forgive you.
And I ended up with Grandma Susie. And that was her when she was younger.
While living with Susie, Lori bloomed into a beautiful young woman. She graduated from high school.
After I left home, Grandma adopted Alan, and then Matt came along. That's their Uncle Matt. I had moved to California by then, so Uncle Matt and Alan used to come and visit. I used to come back from either California or Boston. When I was living in either place, I'd come back every Christmas. So we could always spend Christmas together as a family.
Mother of understanding who holds me so near, you kept me from drowning and answered my prayer. You patiently watched as I started to bloom. You strongly encouraged, gave me plenty of room. I learn in your care I am good, I am strong, that loving is good and hatred is wrong. We are as different as two people can be, but I need you as much as you need me. Mother, I love you.
I have been somehow really lucky in the fact that I have chosen to look at it differently, and that I was the only one who was going to make or break me. And if you choose to look at life like that, and you take responsibility for the things that you do in life, I think in the end it helps you have a much better life, because if you can use excuses, you always have a reason to be sad. Well, I may seem extraordinary, I'm not. I just, somewhere along the line of things, somewhere along the story, I learned an extraordinary lesson. Because of the life I had, I grew into the pretty okay person that I am today.